Hello everyone and welcome to Sonny Wants to Marry Food. On today's episode, I'm going to share with you my favorite dinner rolls recipe of them all. I tried a few versions and this is definitely my favorite. And if I have to be honest, dinner rolls is what got me into baking with yeast. So if you were hesitating whether if to start to bake with yeast or not, to give it a try or not, maybe this is the recipe for you. You're going to see how easy it is and the results are amazing. Oh my god, and that smell from the bread fresh out of the oven. Wow, it's just, I think I want to marry that more than I want to marry other foods. Anyways, let's get baking. The first thing we must do is activate the yeast. We need something to feed the yeast so that it comes back to life. With this recipe, I use a tablespoon of sugar, so we dilute it in the warm water. For the warm water, I know some people like measuring with a thermometer, but I like to keep it simple and my measurement is 2/3 of boiling water and 1/3 of cold water, and we need half a cup in total. Then we add a tablespoon of yeast. I like to use this one here, just simple and traditional active dry yeast. You know it's working when the yeast starts to become foamy. Plus, there's a very particular smell from the yeast when it starts to get activated. You're gonna notice it right away. And while the magical activation process is happening, in a separate bowl, we add half a cup of milk. We crack an egg. Make sure it's medium to large size. We melt 3 tablespoons of butter and then add it to the bowl. Then add a tablespoon of sugar. Then we add a teaspoon of salt and mix it all in. The yeast mixture is going to end up like a creamy looking paste like this. Then that's how you know it's ready. And we add it to the other bowl and mix it in. Next, we need to incorporate about 3 cups of flour. I recommend adding 1 cup at a time because then we can calculate the amount for the right texture better. You might need a bit more or a bit less than 3 cups. And we start to knead. Oh yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite parts. Perfect texture is when the dough is elastic but it does not get stuck to your hands. And if it does get stuck, you can always powder your hands with more flour and the dough if necessary. And when we obtain the right texture, we are going to go ahead and knead for about 8 to 10 minutes on a clean flour surface. If you have a stand-up mixer with a bread hook, you could leave it there doing all the work. I actually have one, but I love the process of kneading, so I usually just do it by hand. But again, this is totally up to you. Then we're going to cover our baby with a cloth and let it take a nap for 1 hour. Preferably in a warm space. I usually put it inside the oven. And wakey wakey! It has doubled the size as you can see here. Now, we're going to split the dough in 12 pieces. And don't worry if they are not perfectly even. I feel that's part of the beauty of homemade bread. And we start making balls out of every piece. And again, don't worry if they are not even. And we place them in an oven tray. And we cover them with a cloth because they need to sit for another 45 to 60 minutes until they double their size. Again, in a warm space. After the time has passed, we can see they are now all tight and close to each other. We're going to preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 190 degrees Celsius. We melt butter to do a nice butter brush. I like to be very generous with the butter because it adds a nicer taste to it. But if you prefer less buttery flavor, you can always brush less quantity. And we put them in the oven when it has reached the temperature for about 25 to 30 minutes. Until they look golden brown like this. And we do a final butter brush. Again, this is optional, but look at the color. It looks much better with it, so I highly recommend doing it. And here we have them, our beautiful and fluffy homemade dinner rolls. The smell of fresh bread is just something else, I swear. Look, they are so fluffy that they look like a sponge. Okay, let's do it one more time just for fun. Oh. And finally, I get to eat them. So it happened before that I finished this whole tray in one sitting, but today I'm going to try to control myself. Yeah, it's pretty good. But hold on. We are missing something. Yep, you guessed it right. The butter. Bread and butter is so simple and yet one of the most beautiful things in the world. If I gain muscle for eating this, I swear I would eat this every single day. Did you see it wasn't that hard at all to bake with yeast? And are you going to venture and try at home? Well, hope you do and let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers! Please subscribe, like and share the video if you liked it.